NFL action on Sunday. The New Orleans Saints taking on the Indianapolis Colts from the Dome in Indy. This one looks like it's a pick 'em right now this weekend with the Colts and Saints. This total currently at 43.5. Talked about on the mornings. We talked about on the show the rash of unders this season. The totals totally dropping. Falling off the table basically. Not this game. This game is one of the games that the totals actually gone up. And I talked about how uh, this season I just want to recover this again in case you're just joining the show. That if you go by what odds makers are saying this week, if you added up all the totals and averaged them out per game, this is expected to be the lowest scoring week in 15 years. Um, Again, that is just based on the total. It's not proven like every game's going under. I'm just saying the totals have never been lower by the odds makers. That's what it's. But this one, so quantify. This one's going up between New Orleans and the Saints. And obviously with a Gardner Minshew, I mean, come on, why wouldn't it, right? Now, New Orleans has lost three of their last four games, covering just two of them. The Saints have been, uh, you know, looking okay, though. Now, they only have 10 touchdowns on 76 drives, but they did outgain their opponents in the last two games by over 350 yards combined in those last two games. The Saints have gone 1-6 to the under so far this season. They've shown a good defense, no doubt about it. Saints 16-10-2 against the spread, coming off of a loss. But so far, the NFC South has been kind of, I don't know, want to say like kind of the joke of the league to a certain extent. NFC South 4-13-1 against the spread in non-division games. So anytime they're not playing each other, NFC South has not looked too good when playing other divisions. So could that actually be a weaker division? We already think maybe they already are kind of down. So uh, for the uh, Colts, with Minshew in here this week. Look, they were outscored in the first half 73-47 in the first half over the last, or no, 74-37 in the last four games. They've been outscored in the first half. And with Derek Carr, certainly has had his ups and downs. Feels like more downs than ups so far this season. But the widely reported steam did come in on the Saints in this game. I'm not sure I'm willing to buy it. And even though I have been, preaching the unders, like I said, the widely reported steam came on the over in this game. I'm going to go over in this game with the Saints and the Colts. So, and whoa, if anything, there's my pen. If anything, right? So, yes, do I champion the under here? Quite frankly, yes. One thing I also have not necessarily mentioned, and I've kept it in the back of my thoughts, and I didn't know how to maybe phrase it moving forward, right? Is are we seeing a rash of unders throughout sports because of the proliferation of sports betting, and we know that the public in general likes overs? It would have to be subtle, but still, just the smallest fraction of a percentage increase would mean big results, especially when talking about giant betting pools nationwide. Now, a lot of these are concentrated in their own jurisdictions. That doesn't matter. But to me, the fact that there is more betting is going to maybe push those totals just slightly higher as well, leaving even more value to the under. So I know I'm talking about it that way. This is an over for me. Yes, with the Saints, um, and all their totals going under so far. But uh, Colts at home, they haven't been very good defensively at all. We've seen these Colts games so far pretty high scoring, especially in the dome, the fast track. This looks like a better situation for the Saints, maybe to get their offense on track just a little bit. I'm looking for any team showing any possibilities of offenses this week to go over because of, you know, these totals getting slammed down like they have. So it's mostly those, 35s in there that are really making these kind of stay low. But I think you'll be surprised. And give me the over in this one. Here's the Jaguars and the Steelers. NFL action for Sunday. Jacksonville on the road here, a 2.5 point favorite after the Steelers ended up showing a little bit of signs of life. How about that? The total here looks like it's currently at 42. Here in this one, yeah, pick it. Look, this one's definitely moved in the favor of Jacksonville. In fact, if any team right now, league wide, is getting a little bit of public momentum as a team that I don't want to say is graduating into the playoff contender or above average playoff category, it'd be Jacksonville right now with their little run. They've made the most of it for sure with the uh, wins in uh, wins in London, coming back to win a game quickly at home and then going on the road. But now we're faced with another road game here with Jacksonville. It doesn't feel terrible, actually, for the Jags this week. It might actually, maybe there is something to it. They just feel very publicy this week. The widely reported steam has come in on Jacksonville, and I don't know. I was kind of favoring Jacksonville here in this one, and that's probably the way I'm going to go. I'm probably willing to lay the points. I mean, maybe they are the public darling this week, and I'm not a public darling type of guy, but um, maybe I am. Oh my darling, this week. And Thomas says here, Jacksonville. And Ray says he's leaning to the Jaguars as well. So it's tough, because you think Pittsburgh at home, Tomlin, underdog. These are the things that people look to get on here. So, like I said, Jacksonville is getting kind of the wise guy to like. Okay, they already were a top playoff contender heading into this season, right? The problem is they didn't get off to a good start and they looked pretty bad. But remember, it was Jacksonville. They played a terrific game against Kansas City. They played good in that game against Kansas City, considering the stakes and the fact that Kansas City has been so established as a championship franchise, and Jacksonville, has never really tasted much. Yeah, they've made it to the championship game before, but not to the bowl. And uh, hey, that for them to have the success that they've had, good on them. And I like what Jacksonville is doing. I still think there's room for continue to move up for Jacksonville. I think Pittsburgh. Look, the defense is getting a little bit better again. I've tried to argue. I went on some shows. I don't know. I felt like I was getting called out a little bit. Look, I was just going on the stats. I wasn't necessarily. I know, we can still Pittsburgh can have a good defense, and they always, do, and they always shore it up if there's an issue or anything. But statistically, they were ranking near the bottom of the. Now they did have an okay, they moved up a little bit, but they still, in some of the categories, are ranking pretty low. So I'm going to take a road favorite here. And don't forget, I mean, I'm still Mr., under road favorite. Not giving out the total here on the show, but there are a lot of road favorites this week. And again, just to reiterate something we've talked about on the show several times about these unders, when you first are looking to decide whether you want to go under or over, or maybe your numbers say or whatever, you don't know. But when the road team is favored by 9 points or less over the last two almost 2.5 seasons now, unders are coming in at a 69% clip. That's when the road team is favored, such as this, by a field goal or so. Anything under 9 points. So that's pretty strong. I'm going to take Jacksonville in this one as they continue to grow, continue to look good, in my opinion. Here's the Houston Texans and the Carolina Panthers NFL action for Sunday. In this one, with the Texans favored on the road here, looking okay of late. They've definitely, turned it around somewhat. This is the, what the discussion, the narrative is in this game with CJ Stroud going up against Bryce Young. We already saw the comments kind of come out this week from Carolina brass. We have the guy that we wanted. Well, they're gonna have to prove it in this one. Then I would think going up against the Texans, if this is the guy you wanted, this is the game you want to win. The reported team did come in on the over in this game, which is interesting considering you got two rookie quarterbacks in this one. This total opened as low as 41.5 and has gone up here to 43.5. So maybe all that smoke I was blowing will be, out of the water here if these totals keep going up. Remember, I did my research on that 2 days ago talking that, but here we are with a 43.5 with two rookie quarterbacks. And actually, I kind of do see it. I know there's some trends here that kind of would point to this game possibly staying under here, but I don't know. Feels like the sharp action moving this game, to the over. And I don't know. That's kind of the way I was kind of looking at it. But I'm going to take Carolina at home. Look, CJ Stroud, absolutely terrific. He has been the better of the two quarterbacks here, but I don't think Houston is all that much better at this point. Carolina's probably pretty, obviously hungry here. They got a spot where they can hang. I'm taking Carolina to cover here against Houston. This is not a great matchup, obviously, right now. So I think for me, I'm more interested in taking the points at home in a game with two rookie quarterbacks, no doubt. Hats off so far to CJ Stroud. Am I a believer? Of course I am. Remember, I came on, if anything, I'm disappointed in what has happened for Bryce Young so far, especially, in his starts where he's really just averaging, I don't know, 4 yards per pass attempt. That's not what you want. And, when Andy Dalton was in there, I was more apt to take him. But here I'm going to take Young. I think this feels like the, spot that they can get the win against the fellow rookie quarterback, the storylines. That's what I'm talking about, Thomas. I can't look, they're 0-5-1 against the spread. Why do I like Carolina? This is the NFL. Not only Carolina's been struggling defensively too. They've given up 12 touchdowns on 20 drives. So there's issues. Certainly, they're not as good with Young, but they're going with Young here, right? This is their development quarterback. And I will say this: Carolina 5-2-1 against the spread. Last 8 games as a home underdog, although just 0-1-1 so far this season. Um, given their situation, they've just got to be better in the second half. The Werner said it. They got to be better in the second half. They're doing okay to start the games. They're being outscored so far this season, 100-50 or something to that effect in the second half. Something like that. Might be just off there, but they're basically being outscored 2-1 in the second half. Now, Carolina is coming off a bye. That's not their best role. They don't actually do that well, but I'm thinking this might be the spot to do that. But again, here we are. This is another NFC South, team. Those teams aren't doing very good, but I just have to take 3 points at home as a handicapper. And just things that. Why does it say Texas though? Ramon. Jokes on you guys. You guys didn't even correct me. You guys didn't even laugh at me or say what is that? And now I put Houston. Okay, it's supposed to say Texans, not Texas. Okay. Now I almost have to start over. My friends, I can't even edit it to do it back. Texans at Panthers, NFL action for Sunday. Give me the Panthers plus the points here in this one at home in the, highly publicized matchup of the two premier rookie quarterbacks. So the guys, were compared, if you will. And I'll take the points. I'll take the points. You know what, Ferner? We don't spell check, and I used to be that guy, and sometimes I catch myself being that guy, and I'm not. I don't want to be that guy anymore. I don't want to be the spelling corrector. If you got it wrong, I don't care. I'll judge you. I will judge you privately, but because I'm usually pretty solid on all that type as a writer. All right, Eagles and Commanders. The spell checking though, run the spell check. Just run the spell check. Eagles and Commanders here. NFL action for Sunday in this one. Eagles obviously going to be a big road favorite here, but hey, it's a division game. The Commanders are making some noise. You got to like what the Commanders are doing. And if they're getting points, sign me up. I don't want the Eagles in this spot against Washington. Hey, are the Eagles great? Sure they are. Are they as good as we think they are? Maybe not quite, right? There are some levels. Who said Thomas? Is it Thomas? No, Tone Miggins. Tony out there. There are levels to this, as Tone Miggins would say. And yeah, look, I've got a home division dog in a total that looks to me like it's totally dropped here. Yeah, did it open 45 for the most part? 44 and a half, 45 and a half. Yeah. Was it even as high as 45 in the earliest look aheads? Yeah. I mean, we know these totals have gone down. You got Sam Howell in here. We know that, that in itself, um, it is what it is. The Commanders are going with Sam Howell, but I want the points in division game where don't want to be a player, no player. I just crush a lot, Thomas. And we've seen, obviously, uh, Eagles when they're on top of their game, they're looking great. We don't have to talk about the play that everybody wants to ban. There should be, hey, I think it's fine. Like the play legal. If every team was doing it, maybe then we could ban it. But not if only one team's doing it. That would be unfair to ban it because every team has the opportunity to do it. So I want Washington every single time here in a division game. Yeah, buy a point, buy a half a point, buy a point. Buy it up to 8, buy it up to 8.5, and lay 240. I don't care. I want the Commanders. Take some money line too. This is going to be a tough game for the Eagles. You know it's going to be a tough game. for the Eagles, right? I mean, look, sure, they are 4-2-1 against the spread so far, but they've only run their running game has slowed, no doubt. They're not running for 150 games anymore. They're really only running for about, I don't know, 80, 90, 100, 100 yards a game, but they have won and covered 3 of 4 on the road. I'll give them that, certainly as well. Eagles have gone under in 4 of their last 5 games. Here we are, road favorite. Feels like an under. Is the value kind of gone? Yeah, but still, it feels it's gonna be pretty close to that. Uh, but I don't know. It does feel like an under a little bit to me now. Commanders will have some issues that they've got to work out this week. They were just 3 of 25 on third down in the last 2 games. They've lost 4 of their last 5, and uh, you know they certainly have had a few issues, but um, they've been getting off to slow starts too. They've got to avoid that. Eagles beat Washington already once this season. Remember that game? It went to overtime. It was just a few weeks ago. It was back in week 4. Eagles won that game at home. Remember, 34-31 at home. So, series has gone over in 6 of the last 8 meetings, and that was a high-scoring game. But I think this one's going to be different. I'm taking the Washington Commanders here, plus 6 points, 6.5, I guess is what we'll call it. Let me see if there's 6s out there at all. All right. I want the Commanders. You know it. Now, well, at least I sung it okay, Darren. Well, it wasn't my fault. Thomas said it first, I think. I like to say that as my pick sometimes. No play, I just crush a lot. Oh, the Rams and the Cowboys. Give me Pat Summerall and John Madden. Give me a big playoff game in January on CBS back in the day. You guys know that CBS was the NFC network back in the day, well before Fox, well before, the mismatch we have nowadays. And the Cowboys and the Rams playing in Texas Stadium and the sun and the shadows and the roof, and you can't even see the play half the time with the old cameras. Anyways, got the Rams here on the road, getting these big points from the Cowboys. It opened around 7, call it 6.5 right now. There was a 6 out there. I saw it get as low as Dallas -5. So I don't know, but for me in this one, it feels like the Cowboys with that steam coming back in. I'd probably come back on the. I'm probably going to lay the Cowboys. I know there's been a lot of momentum here of late. For the Rams, but I don't know. The reported steam came in on the under, and I don't even know if I buy that. I want to look at the line right now. As a matter of fact, did this steam come in earlier today? Is the line actually lower than this? Because I think the Cowboys can put up some points here in this one. This feels like the get right to a certain extent for the Cowboys. I mean, they're 4-2. I mean, that's not a get right or anything like that. It's the Rams that are coming in with a 3-4 record right now. The Dallas right now, they've won their 2 home games 30-10, 38-3, and then they go on the road and we lose all faith in the Cowboys a little bit in some of those games. And when they lose, right? Because in the 2 losses, they give them like 400 yards. You figure it's the end of the world. They're still 4-2. Rams have never been in too good of a spot here. You have the NFC South again on the road. These guys aren't, like I said, or no. Oh, this is NFC West. They're doing fine. What am I talking about? That's part of been the story of the NFC West team. Scratch that from the record. Think of the old days of the Rams playing. The Rams are in the same division as the Falcons. How did that? The Falcons were in the Western Division, you guys, in baseball and football. How does that happen? Ray says he'll go over in this one. I'm going over, but I got the Cowboys to blow them out. The reported steam came in on the Cowboys, and I'm sure that I think the public will be a little bit of Rams. You know, they've looked pretty interesting, right? Especially on the road. They've won a couple of games. They've 2-0-1 against the spread. Interesting to know the Rams. I think I didn't see. I know they had a kicking. They changed kickers. I think they fired the kicker. I think they changed kickers. Rams real strong off of a loss, especially with McVay. They're 22-13 against the spread last 36 games, coming off of a loss. So I don't know. For me, Dallas 12-5 against the spread. Last 17 is a home favorite, whatever it is, and they're off a bye, 5-2 against the spread off the bye in their last 7. Cowboys have gone under in 3 straight. I don't know. I feel like this total. I'm going to go back and research. I almost want to erase the whole show about what I was saying because man, I'm seeing a little bit of subtle movement on these totals to the over. And this one, I like it over this week in this game. This is another one of my road favorite specials that I've been going under on, but man. Okay, Furnace's ticket count is heavy on the Cowboys. Wow. Okay. Maybe people don't like the Rams as much. I mean, I don't know. I thought people were kind of buying into it a little bit. I mean, I'm backing the Rams a little bit on sometime, look, I think it's legit. I think Nakua. I think the Rams are a playoff caliber team. Now they've got to win a game somewhere along the line. A game like this, they've got to stun. They're 3-4 right now, so they need to pull something off. But I'm going to lay the points with the Cowboys in this one. I'm going to lay some chalk here at 6.5. Yeah, I'll buy it down privately to 5.5 for sure. But I'm going to have to take the Cowboys in this spot. Patriots at Dolphins, free NFL pick. This one's for Sunday. The Dolphins at home here against the resurgent Patriots. What else would you call them at this point? The Patriots did a terrific job last weekend, you guys. They were really nice. Feels good that the Patriots were able to come back and do something after everyone had made fun of them for several weeks. Yeah, are they getting a bunch of points here against Miami? Of course they are. But I don't know. Patriots might be in a pretty okay spot here in this one. And you see, the Dolphins and their great start, but New England, interestingly, they are 5-1 to the under so far this season. I mean, I kind of want to take the Patriots, but I'm not quite sure yet at 9 points. But I just think that give the Patriots a little bit of confidence, momentum here a little bit. Mac is bad. Okay, I get it. But, if you looked at him last game, you never would have known he was gone through the things that he went through in those other games. The Dolphins, just to mention, okay, the Dolphins, they have 5 wins, right? The teams that they've beaten in those 5 games are a combined 8-25 so far this season. So that's, they've been lighting it up on offense. We know that. At home, they've scored on touchdowns on 20 of 34 drives. But I think the Patriots know a little bit about the Dolphins, right? A team they're certainly going to be familiar with. Now, we know Miami already won on the road in Foxborough, 24-17 as a 3-point favorite got the money. Dolphins have actually won 4 out of the last 5 meetings in this series. So, and the Patriots don't cover the spread here that often, 1-5 against the spread their last 6 trips here. Series has gone under in 6 of the last 8 meetings, and That's the way I've got to go here. I've got to go under in this one. Like I said, New England 1-5-1 to the under thus far. And at 46, it's probably 45.5 by now. I might need to update it just to be fair on the screen to myself and the viewers, not to give the best line. Grade me against the toughest line every time. So I'll put it at 45.5. I actually see one book still at 46.5, but this is one where I want the under. Thomas has got it over. Ray's got it over. And I'm the contrarian guy here, going under on the show. Oh boy. The Jets and the Giants are going to play. Wow. All right. Hope they can, hope everyone turns out for this one. Look, it's not as bad as we make it out to be. The Jets are 500. The Jets are 500. Aaron Rodgers is drinking his drink. He's working hard to get back. The Jets can do this. There's no problem right now. They've won their last two. They've covered three straight. They're favored here against the Giants. They're technically on the road. The Giants will paint the end zones. They'll have the helmet out there in the center square. But we know it's a play in the same stadium. So, but the Jets here favored by a field goal in this one. Yeah, I guess so. Seems pretty solid actually here for the Jets. I mean, okay, I know we've got to get in there. We've got to mix it up with Wilson again, and maybe Jones, has had an okay return, but could I really play here? The Jet. I don't equate it to, a road favorite necessarily in this spot because of the new. It feels more like a neutral site game. The Jets have won the last two meetings for what it's worth. Um, so okay, look, it's going to be certainly. I don't know. It feels like Taylor, right, in this one, or we're not sure yet on the quarterbacking situation for the Giants. So Taylor, they've only scored 23 points in his games, and that feels kind of scary right now. And I agree, Thomas, or you're instructing him. You're instructing him, but I think it's more Wilson. Keep the turnovers down, and that's what he can do. I really feel like that's what Wilson can do. He knows not to do anything, right? He's got all the pressure in the world on him to just manage this situation, and it's good pressure for him given what he's been through and the way the start of the season unfolded. Now the Jets are just 13 for 59 on third down plays so far, and the Jets are terrible as a favorite. They're just 4-13 against the spread. Their last 17 games as a favorite. The Giants are 6-1 in non-conference games. Their last seven tries, and they're also 12-9 against the spread in their last 21 games with a spread of 3 points or less. But the last four games, the Giants have just 3 touchdowns and 17 three and outs on 51 drives. And the Giants averaging just 278 yards on offense so far this season. They've lost 4 of 5. I'm on the Jets here, lay 3 points against the Giants in this one. Atlanta Falcons and Tennessee Titans free NFL pick. This one is for Sunday. The Falcons on the road, favored in this one over the Titans. All right. Well, I get it, I guess, here, but because we've seen the Titans 2-4, the Falcons they've been all right despite whatever was going on there with that end of the game sequence last week. They've had some issues offensively. We know that. They've scored 16 points or less in just 4 of their last 5 games. And look at this total. I mean, this is what I'm talking about on some of these, with these totals dropping as low as this one has. And I don't even think I can get on a premium here, but I do like the under. I'll still take the under. It feels like this one can be, especially with Tannehill, question mark certainly in this one. It sounds like Will Levis is going to be the starter, the former Kentucky quarterback, coming in here to start for Tennessee in this one. Tannehill is banged up this week, so you're going to have Levis in there for the Titans going up against Ritter, who, I don't know, Ritter, finally lost at home, I guess, was the storyline. But um, Atlanta, 11 turnovers in the last 4 games and just 2 takeaways. Here comes Ray. Sounds like Thomas might back up the truck here on this one. I'm just going to take the under. I think I missed the boat a little bit. Atlanta 14-22 against the spread their last 38 games in a 3-point or less spread. And the Falcons just 1-5-1 against the spread in non-conference games. So Falcons have gone under their team total in 5 of 7 games, while Tennessee's gone under their team total in 4 of 6 games. And of course, Arthur Smith of the Falcons, he spent his a decade in Tennessee. I mean, that's where Arthur Smith came from. He was with the Titans for 10 years before he came to Atlanta, so he knows a little bit about these guys. And also, Falcons under in 13 of their last 15, under in 6 of 7 this season. I'm going under 35.5. Got to be a free play. Can't maybe getting a premium now, having missed out on a few points. I think it's safe to say here is this one probably with that Tennessee quarterbacking situation. Even though Tannehill was struggling. Certainly, Tannehill was struggling to a certain extent. He'll be back in there when he's ready, though. But right now, and we've got Will Levis, who, hey, you know what? He could explode. Thomas said it might even be a good thing, right? Look at the game between the Vikings, the 6 rulers going up against the Packers here, the Meat Packers in this one. And for it's a pick 'em. Looks like a pick 'em here right now. I don't think. Let me check it out here, but feels like a pick 'em. Still a pick 'em in this one with Minnesota and Green Bay. Yeah, I'm showing one book is Minnesota -1, one book's Green Bay -1. So I guess it's a pick 'em, right? With these 2 teams. So look, we had some early reported steam come in on the under in this game, interestingly enough. I'm not sure what that's all about. I mean, I get it. I get what the public might want to do or what they might perceive here in this one. But I don't know. I know it's a division game as well. So that's going to be if you put some people on an under here. The Packers have gone under in 3 of their last 4. Minnesota, they've gone under in 6 of their last 7. And sure, Jordan Love here. Now, Cousins was lighting it up last time. So, I get all that. Here's Ferner. He says, Ferner on the Vikings. And Thomas Lewis is going to be on the Vikings. And I don't know if I'm going to be on the Vikings, you guys. I don't know. I was almost wanting to play Minnesota in this one, but man, if I get the Vikings at home and a pick 'em with Cousins on the road, I know what I just saw. I know what I just saw. All right, these rivals, the Vikings were just 1-4 against the spread in their last 5 trips to Lambeau Field, but we know who they were facing back then. It's been gone over in 5 of the last 6 meetings here, and the totals dropped from as high as 45.5 on the early release down to 42. So I'm on the over with the Vikings and the Packers, you guys. I know what the reported team came in on the under. I get all that. I look at these meetings before. I know what I'm getting here with Jordan Love. But I think it's going to be a better time for the Packers here in this one. I feel like this is a spot for the Packers to, get a much needed victory. The Vikings are just 3-4. The Packers are 2-4. This is a short week for the Vikings. Remember, they played on Monday night. As impressive, uh, you know, as they were in that last game. So Minnesota, um, they just allowed 27 points per game in their losses, and in their last 3 games, this is a very very important statistic. The Vikings have run for just one 200 yards, 190 yards basically total in the 3 games combined. So that you got to be able to run the ball. Packers, uh, they're getting off to these slow starts. It's just awful. It's just a if anything, it is a credit to the coaching staff, and I prefer. I don't know if they. I don't know, Thomas. I'm trying to find a way. I'm trying to find a way on the path. I'm giving out the over on the show, and I know it's going to be. I feel like with Love, people might want to go under, especially if it's in the 40s here. But for me, Packers at home, I feel like that's going to be almost kind of the answer to a certain extent right there. And eliminate the slow starts. They've been outscored in their last 4 games 63-6 in the first half. In the second half, they've outscored the same teams 62-24. Why do we have to have that type of situation, if you're the Packers? And that totally sounds like a Vikings game, right? That's totally what happens in Vikings games every time. One team gets out to a massive lead and the other team makes a massive comeback. So if the Vikings, I said it the other day, right? And it came to fruition, didn't it, when I predicted this? Who was that game? Was that a Chargers game? Oh, yeah, no, we're all taking note of the Vikings last week, but I want them as the dichotomy team, especially given the fact that, right, all the talk about last season, oh, Minnesota was 11-0 in all the points decided by 8 points or less. Well, you know what? All 7 of their games have been decided by 8 points or less this season, and they're 3-4. So things are changing. The Vikings aren't as lucky as they were last year. I give credit to what they did last week, but again, I thought I was on. I thought I was on it a little bit. I thought I was the one that kind of said, "Hey, I see this coming." With I feel like I've got a beat on the Packers. I mean, on the Vikings and the Packers for that matter. So I'm looking at this as a game that I'm going to be. I feel like a victory lap game because I feel like this team came in on the under. I feel like everyone's on the under. Where's my ticket count guys out there? Help me out. Not that I refuse to say a ticket count on the air, but everyone makes fun of the ticket counter guys, and I'm actually one of those. There's no doubt in the end the handicap is for me what um, comes down to it. But I love the ticket count. And like I said, I'm all about ticket count. I'm not about the money. I'm really only about the ticket count. I don't really look at the money at all. Because my dime might not be like your dime, but my ticket is going to probably equal your ticket. in your life. This is betting philosophy from Ramon Scott. Thank you for joining me.